Start recording and we'll get started. Good job. Okay, David, do you want to welcome our guest speaker for today?
Sure. It's our great pleasure to welcome Michael Burke, Superintendent of the Palm Beach County School District. Michael has been a great friend of the Delray Chamber for many years, way before he became superintendent and top dog in Palm Beach County. He always came to our Friday forums, our government and affairs committees, and gave us updates and was there with us as a partner in legislative lobbying for the schools. So I also want to thank Michael for coming to our DCF educational breakfast. It was our keynote speaker, and he was great as usual. And he's a great guy all around, and in addition, a great superintendent. So it's a pleasure. I welcome Michael Burke.
Thank you, David. I appreciate that nice introduction. And I do have a presentation here today. It's if you were at the other event, you're going to kind of see it maybe for the second time. So I'll try to spice it up a little bit, hopefully. But I appreciate this opportunity. You guys have been gracious to have me. I remember doing this last year, and I've got about a 15-minute presentation, and there's plenty of time for questions. But I'll just go ahead and jump in here. Just real quick, about our school district, and you may know some of this, but we are a large district. In Florida, the school district aligns with the county. So there's 67 counties across Florida, 67 school districts. And we're big in Palm Beach County, over 2,300 square miles. So our school district is the 10th largest in the nation, and actually only the 5th largest in Florida, just to give you some idea about how big these Florida districts are. But we've been around for over 100 years. We were founded in 1909, and we are kind of celebrating that we're an A-rated district. Our graduation rate was at 92.8% last year. We're the largest employer in Palm Beach County with over 22,000 full-time employees and thousands more of part-time employees. And this just gives you some stats about kind of the size of our district. We serve over 32 million meals a year in this county through our school food service program, which makes us the largest restaurant chain in Palm Beach County. And we're also really fortunate to be able to serve a free breakfast and free lunch to all students, regardless of income level. We're part of a program called Community Eligibility. And since we have enough folks in our community that are eligible for free and reduced lunch, we're able just to extend that to everyone. And we've got 182 schools this year. We just opened 2 new ones. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But we wanted to kind of kick things off with a little video. And you might want to turn your speakers up here because there's some music that goes along with this one. All right. Well, it's always good to hear the drum line on Friday. It is game day in Palm Beach County. That's why I'm kind of casually attired here. I'm wearing my Dr. Joaquin Garcia high school shirt. It's the home of the Bulldogs, the G's for Garcia. And later tonight, I have the honor of getting to be able to do the first coin toss. It's our first home game at the new stadium. And if you haven't seen it, it's a pretty beautiful facility. It's got a Carolina blue artificial turf field. Just really turned out nice. So we're excited about that. I mentioned we're an academically high-performing A-rated district. We picked up an award this year from Cambridge International. We were the U.S. Large District of the Year. Cambridge provides the ACE program. And so the ACE program, we've been big on that in Palm Beach County. It's in a lot of our high schools. And if students participate in the ACE program and they complete the courses, it takes about 7 courses. They pass those courses, they can graduate with an ACE diploma. And that ACE diploma entitles them to a Bright Future scholarship. Students can earn Bright Futures by getting, they have to get their GPA up and then their SAT or ACT scores. And then also this diploma is another route for kids to get that Bright Future Scholarship. So we handed out about 1,400 ACE diplomas last year as part of the class of 2023. And that's out of about 13,000 graduates. And I highlight that because those ACE diplomas are worth over $40,000 each. And if you look at 1,400 kids that were able to receive them, it's about $64 million in scholarships just right there. So we're really proud of this award, and it just shows we've really embraced that program. It's really having providing some great outcomes for our kids. We last year, of course, we opened Blue Lake Elementary, and then this year, our school district, every 5 years, we have to be accredited or reaccredited, and that's a pretty extensive review. And that accreditation is important because that's what our graduates can hang their hat on with their diploma, that they've graduated from an accredited high school. And we actually accredit all 182 schools, and we just picked up that accreditation, so we're good for another 5 years. But we're happy about that. And then we've been working this year. Hiring and staffing our schools I see as the biggest challenge, and we're going to be facing that challenge for several years. So we have been working hard to start growing our own teachers, both with employees that might have a 2-year degree or interested in becoming a teacher, that we can help them along with that. We're partnering with FAU and Nova Southeastern University. And then also we have some programs in our high schools for aspiring teachers. So we have we have many choice academies. You may have saw in the video over 330 choice programs. Some of those programs are for future teachers, and we're able to actually offer the students as they graduate a contract if they'll come back to us in 4 years when they finish college. The district we're going into year 2 of our strategic plan. Our strategic plan is built around the school board's mission to educate, affirm, and inspire. And this work, as the slide says, is never finished. By affirm, for me, I kind of take these 3 pillars of our strategic plan out of order, but for me, affirm really comes first. When we say affirm, that's to make sure that every student feels welcome, safe, and supported on our campus. And I feel like that's got to come first. If we're going to expect students to learn, they really you have to meet their basic needs, right? And make sure they're comfortable and feel like we care about them. And so we work really hard at that. And particularly in the last few years where there's been some legislation that can create some challenges along those lines, where maybe might send a message that some students may not feel welcome, we want to make sure we go above and beyond, that everyone feels welcome on our campus. And then the educate, that's what you'd expect from a school system. That's to teach the standards, make sure our students are prepared to move up from one grade to the next, ultimately graduate. And then the inspire is something that I really feel is critically important, and we're paying a lot of attention to. And that's hopefully to provide students with something that captures their attention, something they can get excited about, something that gets them engaged and connected with their school. And that can be academics, or it could also be, through athletics or a club, or, particular program like one of our choice programs. But we're trying to really make sure we provide the complete educational experience. And that means, academics, sports, all the clubs, all the extracurricular activities, and just wanting kids to have that kind of complete educational experience. And then the other thing that I'm really paying a lot of attention to this year is we've started a new wave, what's called Catch the Wave. And this is a campaign across our district to provide excellent customer service. And we are in a very competitive environment now. We're going to talk later probably about some of the new legislation and the universal vouchers. We've been competing with charter schools for 20 years. Now we're also competing with private schools with universal vouchers. So I think it's really important, from me to everyone on our team, that we recognize that, and that we recognize that our families have many choices now, more than ever, across Palm Beach County. So we need to make sure that we are providing stellar customer service. We also rolled out universal student ID badges this year at all schools. Those badges can help students get on the bus, pick up their lunch, check out a book, and also just kind of keep them safe on campus, that we know we can distinguish, who belongs on campus and who doesn't. And so we expect students to wear their badge every day. The part of that complete educational experience is something that we're calling community experiences. And when you're in school, when I was in school, we called these field trips, but it's become a little bit more sophisticated. What we want to do is make sure that our students are getting out and about in Palm Beach County to take advantage of some of the rich cultural venues we have, along with, science and nature and commerce and business, government, everything. So, in the past, sometimes it was left to chance. You'd had to have, if a student was going to go on a field trip, That meant that was something the school had to embrace, that the individual teacher maybe said, you know what, I'm going to take my kids someplace. There's some work that goes into a field trip. You know, we are a big organization, and there's a lot of risk management and all that. So there's a lot of paperwork that goes into these field trips. And what we're doing now is we don't want to leave it to chance. I want to be able to guarantee kids that they come through our system from pre-K to graduation as a senior, that they're going to have some experiences. So for this year, for the first time ever, we're going to guarantee that every 5th grade student will have the opportunity to go to the Kravitz Center for a performance. And every 7th grader will get out and about into some type of science or nature experience. And depending on where the school is geographically in the county, that may influence where they end up. But, you know, like in the north end of the county, we have the Loggerhead, Marine Museum. We've got Murakami down south with the Japanese gardens. We've got different things, you know, you see them on the slide, but we're going to get all the 7th graders out to a type of science event. And then our 10th graders are going to be having a social studies driven experience. And we're going to keep building on this. And we're also working to try to streamline the process for our teachers to make it easier, and also supporting our schools with transportation to get the kids out and about to these venues, because sometimes that's the biggest challenge. We always work closely with the various chambers, including Delray, and also with our Economic Council and Career Source, to look at where the basically demands are for jobs in Palm Beach County, and what can we do to kind of tailor our career programs, you know, our choice programs, to make sure that we are providing that future workforce, and that we're targeting well-paying jobs, you know, so that's a win-win, not just for the business owners in Palm Beach County, and but for our students, whether they choose to work in Palm Beach County or go anywhere in the country or across the globe. So these are just some of the kind of like high demand jobs right now that we're focusing on. And we're also, this is not just a K-12 really list. We are also taking this approach with adult and community education. And then a little closer to home in Delray, these are just choice programs that are right within your city, and so, you know, and the schools within Delray Beach. And I won't read it all to you there, but you can see you're pretty well represented. And of course, Atlantic High School has got the Armored Junior ROTC. They've got, you know, 4 additional choice programs. And then we've got some great partnerships there with Suffolk Construction, the Delray Police Department with our criminal justice program. And then Bank of America stepped up about a year ago with a nice sizable donation to help support the finance program. So we're very appreciative of that. And this is something I'm trying to kind of replicate across the county with our choice programs. When we can match those up with a business partner, the program just becomes that much stronger. You know, the financial support's great, but also it's just the knowledge, the industry knowledge, the expertise. You know, our teachers do an excellent job, but they can't always be on the cutting edge of all technology. You know, we have, for example, we have cyber security academies in a couple of our schools. And if you're a cybersecurity expert, you can typically command a salary far greater than what we're able to pay our teachers. So when we have these business partners, it's a way to maybe have someone come in and co-teach, you know, once a week, based on their availability, to just help our programs, you know, stay current and relevant and up to date with the industry. Okay, HB1. So HB1 passed last session. You probably heard a lot about it. It's pretty groundbreaking. Florida's on the leading edge of basically vouchers or scholarships they'll be referred to by the legislature. And now in Florida, we just started where past voucher programs there were some limitations based on income. If you earned over a certain level, you were not eligible. That's been removed. And now all families across Florida are eligible for a voucher. And these vouchers are administered by a third party called Step Up for Students. And they have been slammed this summer, trying to keep up with all the demand for vouchers. A lot of that demand is from families that were already attending private schools. And so if the private school accepts the voucher, then the families can apply for that voucher, and they get about $8,000 in Palm Beach County to apply towards their tuition. And so we're seeing this grow quite a bit. In Palm Beach County, I'm pleased to announce that we just did our 11th day count. That's our kind of first official enrollment count that we kind of we take each year to see how we're doing. And we also use that enrollment to make any staffing adjustments we need to if schools have gone up or down significantly in enrollment. And this year we are projected to increase our enrollment 1,000 students. And it looks like we're up about 500 students So we're a little shy of that projection, but to be up 500 is a good thing. I know the county to our south, Broward, they've been having declining enrollment, and they dropped about another 2,500 students this year. As the former CFO, it's really nice to be in a district where you have stable enrollment or growth in your enrollment. With growth comes additional revenue, and there's economies of scale when you're a growing district versus the other side of that is if you have declining enrollment, your revenue is dropping, and it's hard to reduce kind of your fixed operating costs without closing schools to really adjust to that loss in revenue. So we're working really hard to hang on to our students. We do believe we're your best choice, and we want to make sure all our families know that. I'm trying to do my best to remind people that, the public school system brings some guarantees. We're guaranteed to have a certified teacher. Our school principals have got advanced degrees in educational leadership. We're transparent with our curriculum, and we have a ton of accountability with high stakes testing and student testing, so that parents can get a good assessment of how their students are doing in school. And then just a reminder here, so Florida, we always kind of hover in that bottom decile in terms of funding per student. We had gotten up to 44th in the nation, but we've slipped as of late to 47th in the nation. So this chart just shows you all the states plus the District of Columbia. So that technically there's 51 states in the District of Columbia here. And you can see Florida is kind of at the bottom end there at an average funding, when you include all the funding, of about $10,401 per student. And then we're trailed only by Mississippi, Arizona, Utah, and Idaho. And of course, Florida has no state income tax. There are 7 states without a state income tax. So there is some correlation there in terms of funding, but we are pretty low. And that's a good segue as to what's so great about being the superintendent in Palm Beach County, and I've worked here for over 25 years, even as a CFO. We have enjoyed tremendous support from our community. Every time we've gone to the voters to ask for additional funding, it's been approved. And there's really 2 components. We have a penny sales tax where we partnered for local government infrastructure. So that penny sales tax goes, 50% of it comes to the schools, 30% of it goes to the county government, and then the remaining 20% is shared across 39 municipalities, including Delray Beach. So our share of that penny at work is about 1.3 billion. This was a 10-year sales tax, but there was a provision that if we would hit the goal, if we hit the revenue goal in total early, that we would sunset the tax. And the revenue has been strong. So we do expect this to sunset after 2025, after 9 years rather than 10. And this money has been really important for us to basically deal with the ongoing maintenance and of our facilities. We're constantly replacing roofs, air conditioners. We've done a lot of work around security with fencing and lighting, card access, door locks, and it also helps us to keep up with replacing schools once they've kind of reached their end of life. And we've got some of those projects in Palm Beach County and also in Delray Beach. I'll talk about it a little bit more here. The other big referendum is a property tax. And in 2022, we were able to renew that 1 mil levy by a 74% approval rate, which is really strong. And that 1 mil levy goes a long way. Half of the funds allow us to pay our teachers better, to hopefully retain them in Palm Beach County, and it is working. We pay our teachers after 1 year of experience. The referendum provides additional $1,000 in salary. Once they get to 5 years, that goes up to $5,000. When they hit 10 or more years, they receive a $10,000 a year salary supplement on top of their base salary. And it counts towards their pension, their ultimate pension benefits. So it's really important to our teachers. This referendum also pays for all our fine arts and choice program teachers, which is now up to about 800 positions funded solely by this referendum. That's critically important. And then these funds also go, we first passed this 1 mil in 2018 in the wake of the Stoneman Douglas tragedy. And we realized how important the mental health of our students is to avoid those type of tragedies and just get our students services. So we've added a mental health professional to every one of our 182 schools. And we've also contracted for what we call a co-located therapist, which we work with a variety of agencies across Palm Beach County to get those therapists onto our campuses and provide services for students that are in need. So it's working very well. And then of course, with safety and security, We've doubled the size of our police department, and we've added additional layers of security. I mentioned the student ID badges. That's one layer. Last year, we rolled out a system called Strategics, where you can see this. Every employee now carries a badge, and if they press this button, it's like calling 911. And it's also when they're on our campus, there's like it tells us their exact location of where the alarm is coming from. So we're constantly working to make our schools safer. This year, we're piloting metal detectors in 4 of our high schools. It's off to a very good start. These are like state-of-the-art metal detectors where students can pass through in a half a second. And it uses not just a metal detector, but also artificial intelligence to look at the size and shape of the objects that are being detected to determine if it's a weapon. And I've tested them myself. I've walked through with my car keys and cell phones, and it does not set them off. But if I carried through a simulated weapon, and it's sure enough set it off. And so that's working well. We plan to go back to our school board if this pilot goes well to let them know that we'd like to expand it to all high schools. And the students appreciate it. You know, this is something we've debated over the years, but in this day and age, everyone seems to appreciate that extra layer of security. And again, it's really non-evasive to the student. They pass right through, and it's much better than having to wand people or that type of thing. All right, so we got a modernized school coming to Delray Beach, Pine Grove Elementary. It's not a complete rebuild. We have some buildings that we need to preserve, but it's going to look like a new school. It's a major renovation. We redo everything, and it'll look brand new when we're done with it. And that's expected, that will open in next August of 2024. And then also, you may have noticed next to Village Academy, the Delray Full Service Center, we have a new building that's going to be opening up this fall. And, we've also got a couple additional buildings there that we are going to the board next week as part of our budget to request additional funding so that we can go ahead and restore those additional buildings and expand that campus. But this is for our adult education program, and we're going to continue to grow the program offerings down there. We're already serving about 400 students, and that's going to grow considerably as this facility expands and hopefully help meet some of the needs of the local businesses in Delray Beach. All right, I got one more video for you. This is something I really enjoy doing as superintendent. And I mentioned we have over 22,000 employees. We have over 1,500 different job descriptions. So in Palm Beach County, we've got everyone, from attorneys to finance folks to grounds maintenance to bus drivers, food service, you name it, we have it. And I've done this kind of job shadowing program where I go around and spend some time working with our employees in various capacities. So we got a short video here to just kind of gives you an idea of how that's going.
We have over 22,000 employees doing a large variety of jobs. I'm going to spend a little time each month trying out something new. This is going to be my Burke at Work campaign. Good afternoon, everybody. How you doing? We're here at the Gove Elementary School out in the Glades. We're in Mrs. Brown's 3rd grade classroom.
Your lesson will entail differentiating between the short and the long vowel sounds.
We're busy here at the Red Apple Supply and Warehouse. School year's getting ready to kick off, and there's a lot of work going in behind the scenes to get supplies ready, donated to us. Today I get to be part of the crew at the Education Network, or 10, as we like to call it. This is a special edition of Burke at Work. It's Burke at Work Earth Day. We've been planting mangroves in Spartina. We did a little zaning or netting to catch fish that are gonna like living in this new habitat, and it's just been awesome. We're at Lake Worth High School. Miss Franco's got an extensive collection of found objects, we like to call them, in the art biz. Now we're hard at work putting our sculptures together. We're here at Palm Beach Gardens High School, home of the Gators in their gym, and we're gonna do a little painting today. It's proven by research that students perform better and clean, well-lit, safe, secure facilities. So this is an ongoing effort. We're a huge school system, so the work is never done. And about the time you get done painting one wall, it's time to start on the next. I'm working with Mr. Esteban Woods. He's one of our senior HVAC techs from the maintenance department. He saved me from getting shocked earlier today, so I'll be forever in his debt. Today, Burke is at work at Whispering Pines Elementary School. I'm part of the After the Bell Unicorn program. How do you think I'm doing here today as an after-school counselor?
Very, very good.
Thank you. I had the chance to work with the kids today and do my own little art piece. I'm gonna be taking this home to my mom for the refrigerator.
It was actually fun. He is a very good worker. I'll hire him.
I
So thanks
love
for-
that, Michael. Thank you for showing that video.
Thanks
But
for indulging me.
So many
Uh,
people get the
oops.
jobs you have.
Let's see, I think we're pretty much done here. Let me just get to the end. So, that's also our plug for if anybody who's interested in joining what we affectionately refer to ourselves as Team Palm Beach. That's our workforce. We've got a lot of opportunities, for everything from substitute teacher to school principal. So I always kind of make a plug if there's anyone out there who ever was thinking about maybe joining the school system team or volunteering, we'd love to have you. I'm really enjoying this. I'm going into my 3rd year as superintendent, and it's, the job's got its pluses and minuses, but the pros far outweigh the cons. And just really proud to be in this position and being able to kind of represent our district. And then I get to take credit for all the great work people are doing, but we really do have an amazing team. And it's, our teachers and principals are the key players in a lot of this, and I'm really proud of this organization. Thanks for having me again. I hope this was useful. And for those of you that are seeing it for the second time, I apologize, but this is kind of our back to school presentation at this point. I'd be happy to open it up and take any questions.
I have a question.
Sure.
Hi, this is Vivian DeMille. I am the advocacy committee chair for the chamber, past chair of the chamber, and my role during the day is chief operating officer for Henderson Behavioral Health.
Oh, okay.
And prior to that, I was a founder and owned Chrysalis Health that has done a lot of work with the school district as well. And my question is really regarding we recently had a couple of questions that you answered for us for an interview. And in one of the questions, you spoke about developing a business community advisory board. What would that look like? What are you anticipating that will be?
Well, as an example, we worked with the North Chamber a few years back. We were like on the very early stages of planning to rebuild North Technical Center, and also a campus at the old Roosevelt Full Service Center, or historic Roosevelt. And those projects are now just about to kind of break ground. But what we did with the North Chamber was we kind of sat down and brainstormed about, what's the demand for jobs in that region? Where did the various businesses see a need? Where they're having difficulties finding workers, and so that was just one example. So the chamber was good about convening kind of these business leaders, and then we brought forward our kind of curriculum people and our adult education folks and everybody, and just kind of worked through that. So that would be like one example. I know in Delray, I've heard you guys have a lot of large auto dealerships. And so I know that had been a conversation that came up before about, is there a way maybe that we could partner and help, train mechanics and that type of thing? And often it does take a partnership. So I mentioned like we're rebuilding that Delray Full Service Center, but it's not going to have a garage and the auto bays and things like that. So just another example. So sometimes we can partner and do like a satellite program where we could have, maybe if the dealership was not using their garage in the evening, we could have instructors push in and kind of partner to utilize their facility, and then also help train their future employees. So that's kind of, I think, what we were thinking about in terms of like those business leaders, and then just having a forum for the business leaders. The other thing, I work closely with the Business Development Board and the Economic Council. The Business Development Board is always focused on bringing, more jobs to Palm Beach County, more high-paying jobs in industry. And so we work with them periodically to, as companies consider relocating, they're often, one of the first questions they ask is, well, where would our kids go to school? So that we provide them with some information and say, okay, if you're going to, move to Palm Beach County, this is our school system. These are the programs we have, and we help relay that information.
Right. we would love the opportunity to be a part of that advisory board. I have one other question.
Sure.
Agenda for this legislative agenda for this year. Is there anything, any specific ask or direction or anything that that you're moving towards that we can support as a business community or as a
Yes.
community?
So our school board is going to meet next week to have a workshop on their legislative priorities. They're going to have 2 workshops, September 6th, September 13th. And then by the end of September, early October, they'll formally adopt their legislative platform. And that's something I'd be happy to share. And it'll have a variety of, priorities. Certainly funding is always at the top of the list. One of the things that we are really advocating for in Florida, though, is also we currently have a VPK program, voluntary pre-K, that's parents can get 4 hours a day for free. And that's a limitation. 4 hours a day is not really practical for most families because the typical job's 8 hours a day, right? And so our VPK program in Florida, the parents either can go 4 hours a day during the 180-day school year, or they can go a full day during the summer program. And we feel like it's not hitting the mark. We'd like to see a full 8-hour VPK program in Florida. And in my role as superintendent, one of the key metrics we all focus on is, are our students reading at grade level by grade 3? And about half our students are not. And when I became superintendent, I got a seat on the Children's Service Council, and they pay a lot of attention to a metric called kindergarten readiness. And it's basically the same level. About half the kids show up ready for kindergarten. And so we've done a lot of work around kindergarten readiness, partnering with Children's Service Council, Early Learning Coalition, to identify what are those skills that kids should have when they show up for kindergarten. It's, times have changed a little bit. It's not just showing up with a lunchbox. Ideally, the students would show up and, know their letters, know their numbers, know their shapes and colors, have held a pencil and done some basic skills. So this year, to help with that, we did a kindergarten roundup program, and we were very strategic about it. We did district-wide. We ran advertisements about now's the time to sign your student for the class of 2036. And then we handed out, for the first time ever, free kindergarten readiness kits, English language arts and math, to the families, all the families that registered. And we had complemented that with a series of short videos on YouTube that showed the parents how to use the kits. And they're really well done. And just basic things, how the parents could sit and spread the letters out on a table and get the kids to start sounding out some really, small words. But I think that's what's really important. If we really want to change, we've been trying to raise 3rd grade reading my whole career, and we have not made a significant difference, unfortunately. And that's basically because we've got kids that, show up for school and you just haven't had like all the blessings. They haven't had all the experiences. Maybe they haven't been read to. They have very limited vocabulary, where other kids show up with vast vocabularies just from the exposure to their parents. So that's where I see is kind of a top priority. I'd like to see everyone kind of get behind is let's do better by our pre-K programs in Florida. And that in turn will help make my job easier here at the school system. But we'll get this whole list of priorities out to you all.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes.
Good morning. Thank you, and wonderful presentation. My name is Lovely Sheridan. I am an adult education teacher. However, I have a passion for early education and children. And for my creative side, a few years ago, I started the Buddy Bench program. I started bringing Buddy Benches to the schools in Palm Beach County. So I partner with the local organizations, and we place Buddy Benches on the program to create friendliness and kindness and promote empathy and compassion. So I love what you mentioned about developing, the social skills for the field trips and outings. And it's just so important to me, especially in the times that we live in now, to also incorporate and work on these areas. And for me, I've seen the difference that it has made within the school system with the teachers and the community. And I was just wondering, how can I receive some more support from the school system, Palm Beach County School District, in making this a more uniform program throughout the county, because it's such an effective initiative. And the goal is for me to place, together with the community, to place Buddy Benches on every school ground. But it would be nice to have, the support of the school district.
All right. Well, I have a little familiarity with the Buddy Bench. I've heard that name before. I know we have some benches out there, but
Yeah.
perhaps if you could email me, we'll take this offline. If you could email me some more information, see if I can.
Yeah. Thank you.
My
Yeah,
email is mike.burke@palmbeachschools.org.
thank you. And I just love the focus on the field trips. I love when you said that. I think it's just so awesome on that focus on the social emotional. So thank you so much.
Thanks. I appreciate that. I know it sounds kind of, I don't know, basic, like, hey, we're going to do more field trips, but we convened this year for the first time a superintendent student advisory committee. And so we have 9 high school students, and it's a good mix of our schools. And it's not just all the A-rated, student class presidents. We wanted to get like kind of a mix of all students. So we were deliberate about that. And that was one of the things the students also, because I had kind of suspected that, especially coming out of COVID, I've heard from students firsthand how much they missed out when they were stuck at home and online learning. So we wanted to kind of, when we came back and now that we're in person, we want to kind of do it right. But our student advisory committee, without me even prompting them, they asked for that. They said, we want to get out. I had a student tell me, hey, when I was in middle school, I went to a fire department as part of a field trip, and that inspired me to want to become a medical professional. So I do think there's a lot of value, and our teachers, when they do it right, they can spend a couple of weeks teaching the standards and then really align that with the community experience, our field trip, to really just kind of punctuate the learning and drive it home. And there's no like substitute for hands-on experience. The kids, that's much easier to remember. It sticks with them. So thank you, Ms. Sheridan.
Thank you. Thank you. It's so many times the focus is on the academics, which is great, but it's great to see a superintendent that is also focusing on that area. It makes me very happy. So that's why I wanted to talk about that today.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Hey, Mike, David Beal here. Could you tell us how your district is handling the teacher complaints and concerns about the state curriculum and the restrictions on books in the classroom, in the libraries?
Yes, so we've been kind of fortunate in Palm Beach County. We've been trying to be really careful how we navigate this new legislation and to not overreact to it. For example, when some of the concerns came up about potential book challenges, there were other districts that started boxing up their teacher classroom libraries or pulling books off the shelf. We did not do that. We've kept our books out there. We did review, rather than boxing them up, we reviewed about 2.5 million books last summer, over a year ago. And we didn't have to ban any books. There was a few that we determined were kind of inappropriate, that really not because of the new law, but would have been inappropriate under the existing laws. So we removed a couple books. There was some books with some of the legislation around, it started with you couldn't have anything that was in grade K through 3 that dealt with sexual orientation or gender identity. That did require us to move some books within our school libraries and create an intermediate section so that it was 4th grade and above. But we have not banned books. We've had one challenge, which was on the Bible, and our school board ultimately supported my recommendation. I had first denied the request to remove the Bible, and then the board backed me up on that when the constituent appealed. And so part of this is by design to be careful and not ban books. Part of it's also just being fortunate in Palm Beach County that we have not been besieged with objections. So I almost feel like I need to knock on wood, but I read an article last week where they attributed 600 book protests to just 2 people in our state. And that was out of like 900 book protests or challenges across the entire state. And so that's where I see the big concern, is where just a couple of people could kind of wreak chaos on a district and inundate you with challenges, which takes time and energy to hear out those challenges and respond to them. So I'm hoping that continues in Palm Beach County. Our teachers, it's a constant kind of message that we need to reinforce to them, because a lot of times with these laws, there's a real chilling effect. And there's one particular that when you read the letter of the law, there's a law that says you cannot teach basically history and tell people they must feel guilty about it. But So in that, we never teach and tell kids you must feel guilty. But that law, when it plays out in the media and when people just kind of hear it and they don't actually read the law, that might get misinterpreted to say, well, I can't teach anything that's going to make somebody feel uncomfortable or anxious. And that's not true. So we tell our teachers, look, you're going to teach history. It's going to make people uncomfortable. You can't control the human emotion that someone might experience when they learn about the atrocities of the Holocaust or slavery or what have you. So we're reminding our principals, we keep pushing that, because I think, with almost 13,000 teachers, I can't say that everyone is probably fully, understands that. And it's human nature maybe to be concerned because they know now the teachers, potentially their credentials are on the line, if they get in trouble. But we're trying to really push that message to say, look, don't overreact. You can still basically teach like you've always taught. And when you look at the laws, you just can't say, hey, Mike, you need to feel guilty because you're white and, your family may have benefited where others did not. So I hope that's helpful. There's no shortage of legislation and new state board of rules. They're cranking them out right and left. This summer was no different. On July 19th, the state board approved some rules that deal, we have to now with our restrooms, we have to make sure that with our group restrooms that boys and girls only are going to boys and girls room if that was their sex assigned at birth. If a student is transgender, what we do is we provide a single use kind of unisex bathroom and make those readily available. Same with locker rooms. If a student, there's a whole law on sports and transgender, you cannot be born, and be assigned a boy biologically at birth and play on a female team. The inverse is okay. If your sex at birth is female and you want to play on a boys team, that's permitted in Florida. So we've implemented that law. Pronouns is the whole thing. That was just passed this summer. If our teachers cannot refer to themselves or provide a pronoun that does not align with their sex at birth. So if we have a teacher that was transitioned years ago and was known by one pronoun or the other, they now have to be careful not to introduce themselves to their class by that pronoun. So, I guess that gives you some feel for the legislation. I mentioned our missions to affirm our students. It's also to affirm our employees. So we're working overtime to try to, despite what's happening maybe around us and in the legislation, to not lose sight of that. We want to kind of go above and beyond to make sure everybody still feels welcome on our campuses. And I'm glad to say that when I get out to our schools, it's a positive experience. It's the best part of my day. And when you get in our classrooms, you see teachers that care about kids and kids that are, happy to be there. So I know if you just watch the news, you could probably get kind of alarmed about what's happening with education. But I feel like when I get into our schools and see it in action, it kind of restores my faith in humanity.
Well, thank you. You're restoring our faith in humanity too.
Okay, good.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Superintendent Burke, and also World's Nicest Guy. It is so great to have you, and we're so honored to learn more about it. So I just wanted to say that we've got our government affairs newsletter. It's going to go out any minute, and it features Vivian DeMille. She interviewed not only Superintendent Burke, but Edwin school board members, Erica Whitfield and Edwin Ferguson as well. And it talks about some of the issues more in depth of what you talked about today that's going on in Delray Beach. So thank you for participating in that too.
Oh, terrific. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, Vivian.
Great.
All right, well, it's a pleasure. Maybe we get to do this again next year.
Okay. I'll book you in. I will definitely book you in.
Okay, anytime. I appreciate your support. Thank you very much.
Thank you for all you do, Mike.
Thank you.
Let's go to our report, Stephanie.
Sorry?
Let's go to our reports.
Yes, definitely.
So, let's start with CRA and Renee Jettising. Renee, you still there?
Yeah, I'm here. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, so lots always happening at the CRA. We just started a redevelopment advisory committee. I'm not sure if you've been following along, but we are starting a group to help advise on certain matters that we're handling at the CRA. So we are taking applications starting today. through October 31st. And we plan to have our first meeting in January. So if you're interested in learning more, getting more involved with the CRA, I encourage you to check our website. The application's on the homepage, front and center when you get on there. And please share the information. We are looking for property owners, whether it's residential or business, not renters, because our tax increment comes from a portion of property taxes. So we do want to make sure we have property owners who have a vested interest in our redevelopment area. And we are looking for up to 5 members, and we'll have no more than 1 per sub area. So if you also visit our website, you'll see our sub area map, and we would like to have no more than 1 per sub area. If you have any other questions though, please feel free to reach out to me. We want to try to help as much as possible because this is something very new in Delray. So we do want to get as much information out there as possible so that people understand what's going on and get it out to a broad cross section of our population. And we also have our CRA social. So we started this a few months ago. We were opening up some of our buildings in the evening times to discuss projects, ask questions, just come in and chat with us for a little bit. Our next one is going to be on October 5th. And that will be at the 98 Northwest 5th Avenue building. And that one's going to be a little special because we are talking about future development in our district, West Atlantic or otherwise. There's a city commission and CRA joint workshop that's taking place on October 17th. So we are trying to have this CRA social so we can talk with the community a little bit before the commissioners have their workshop to discuss potential developments in our district in West Atlantic Avenue and around our area. Also, today is First Friday, so Art Walk is happening at the Arts Warehouse. Please come by and check us out. We'll be there from 6 to 9. Also, no green market, but we do start back up in the fall season, October. So stay tuned for more information about that. And next week, Saturday, is Crafted on the Avenue. That's our craft fair that we have on at Libby Wesley Plaza. So that will be taking place next Saturday from 1 to 5. All of this is on our website. All of it's on social media and Facebook. So if I went too fast, you missed something, please visit any of our platforms or call us and you'll find out more information. Thank you.
Thank you, Renee. Any questions for Renee? You're doing a great job over there, CRA, Renee. Appreciate you for coming on. Let's go to our fire department. Substituting for the chief is Greg Giacconi.
Yes, good morning, everybody. Can you hear me okay? I'm having trouble with my mic.
Can you turn up your volume?
I will try and speak a little louder. How's that?
A little better.
Good.
All right, I'll give it a shot. Just like the superintendent stated in his presentation, we're also going through our accreditation. We had our internal and external stakeholders meeting last week here in the city. There might be some folks on the meeting here today that attended. For those of you that did, we thank you very much. We're hoping to get that completed in the spring. So again, we'll keep everybody posted on that, but great benefit to us and the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for the fire department? Okay, let's next go to Representative Kelly Skidmore. Is she still
Good morning.
on?
Representative Skidmore isn't on right now. This is her legislative aide, Gwen Gonzalez. The only real update that I could give you today is that we have our committee weeks coming up on the week of September 18th. We're still waiting to hear what the committee assignments are since they are renewing them every year for the representatives now. And we're still waiting for that schedule to come out because we don't have a schedule just yet. But that's what's happening at the legislature at this moment. And thank you so much for the presentation from the superintendent. It was wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you. We can next go to Jackie Ramirez. Jackie?
Let's see. Yes, I'm just. Well, it looks like I can't. Oh, there I am. Great. Good morning. Well, I wanted to just take a moment to thank Kim Beckett. She spoke at our conference that we held just about a month ago. We had about 300 business leaders from around the country, around the state come to it and attend. And she did 2 sessions, one on cross collaboration and one on delegating that were really well received. So thank you to Kim Beckett for her support and for providing her knowledge to us.
Is that it, Jackie?
That's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Let's go now to the city and Mary Wozni from Sustainability.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Just a real quick update that we're kicking off Climate and Art, our annual event tonight, and Renee brought up the first Friday art walk for Arts Warehouse and Cornell Museum. And tomorrow we'll actually be having talks from 10 to 2 at each of them, touching on a whole bunch of different sustainability topics, including recycling, our tree program, our healthy beaches, and lots of other stuff. What I am going to do is I'll throw the link in the chat to the website, so that way everybody can see the list of talks that we have. And tonight, one of our green businesses, Opportunities, is hosting climate change trivia at 6 p.m. If anybody's interested in that, come on out. I actually have someone from Palm Beach Chamber North hosting, because I used to work with him at Solid Waste Authority. So he's hosting to talk about sustainability and waste in the city, basically. So if anybody has any questions, let me know. Otherwise, hopefully we'll see you out there tonight and tomorrow at the Cornell Museum and Arts Warehouse for our talks.
Thank you. Great stuff. Thank you, Mary. So let's go to Michael Corbett from Career Source.
Thank you, David. Good to see everybody today. Our unemployment rate in the county has risen to 3.3%, up from about 2.7% several months ago. So we're seeing a shift in the employment across the county. We've added 12,700 new jobs this year. The average annual wage for Palm Beach County is $71,850, the highest in the state of Florida for any county. Job growth in loss by industry, we've got education, health services have added almost 6,000 new jobs this year. The total jobs in that industry are over 111,500 jobs. Leisure and hospitality has added 4,100 jobs. That accounts for about 90,000 jobs across the county. And trade, transportation, and utilities has added 2,600 jobs, and that represents about 125,000 jobs for our county. Very large industries are adding jobs. And the last thing I'll say, if you get Florida Trend magazine, even if you don't, this month they showcase Palm Beach County. There's roughly 40 pages devoted to Palm Beach County in this issue of Florida Trend magazine, the business magazine for the state of Florida. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Michael. We have Florida Trend in our reception room, don't we?
Yes,
Stephanie?
we do.
Come in and look at Florida Trend if they don't subscribe.
Absolutely.
I think we have 2 minutes, and it's up to you, Stephanie, to tell us what's going on in the chamber.
Okay, I'll just make it really quick. Coming up next week on Tuesday, right after the holiday, we have Nonprofit Council here at the Chamber. We had 60 people here for lunch last month, which was amazing. Mostly nonprofits, but for-profits are also welcome to come because we want to foster that collaboration. We've got several grand openings in September. Cool View will have a grand opening at the Chamber on the 7th, and we'll also be having a grand opening at Once Upon a Daisy at 5 p.m. I think they're in the Andre Design District, and that should be a fun one. We're also having a grand opening for Over the Bridge Cafe. So our friends at Big T's Deli have bought the Bridge Cafe, so they'll be doing their grand opening on September 14th. We also have our roundtables this month, which is the real estate roundtable will take place at Sklar on September 14th. And the tourism roundtable we're going to do via Zoom because we're going to be joined by Discover the Palm Beaches. So that's on September 19th at 10 a.m. And then don't forget our networking events, Contacts and Cocktails is September 21st at Bar 25. It's a great location. And the YPAD is doing a prom at a loft. So if you're under 40 and you want to live your prom years, they'll be doing that on September 29th. And that's all we have for now. So thank you everyone so much for joining us. We're right on time at 10 o'clock, and we really appreciate having Superintendent Burke on today. This is obviously recorded, so if you ever want to reach back and look at it again, it'll be on our YouTube and the website. So thanks everyone for joining us today. Have a great holiday weekend. Bye.